We're just being extra.
Anyway,
Jackie ready. She
I'm trying. I don't know. I'm like, I want to start, but I'm like, where do I start at? Okay, I just really hope you guys appreciate the fact that I spend my hard-earned money on these microphones. This is my second microphone during this whole recording process. So, yeah, if you're listening, if you're new here, or if you're returning, hey, how you doing? Welcome to the Just Extra podcast with Jackie and Erica. I'm
And
Jackie.
I'm Erica. Yay! Welcome back. Right when you were talking, I was like, oh my gosh, let me look up a fun fact. And I don't have one. It's not really fun these days in the life of an American, a Black American. Anyway, but we're gonna try and keep it. We're actually not even gonna have a light episode, so we're just gonna really get into like the thick of what everything is. Okay, y'all see the title. Okay, so it is what it is today. Join us in our convo. But we'll
I know
start.
it's like the energy might be a little tough, but that's okay. We have our iced coffee here, we have our waters, we have our lip gloss,
Mm, mm-hmm.
just stuff that we could just do. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like a fidgeter. When you have like tough conversations, you kind of I know me, I'm a fidgeter. Like I will mess with stuff. So I'm like, okay, let me control where my hands go so we can control the sound because we have our audio producer here. We have Mr. Dot Forbes. He's part of the Chill Lounge Network. We appreciate him coming in every week, helping us create, amazing
all
content.
I'll say is move your pen out the way, because if I hear
It's over
that,
here. It's over here too. I was just like, ooh,
you
I
and
see
them,
it.
you and them,
I love a pen, okay?
you and them clicking and clacking of the pens.
Well, we're just going to jump right into our extra thoughts segment of the podcast, where we talk about the previous episode. And so we did a extra focused topic or episode. So we got into a couple of celebrity gossip, some news. The Diddy verdict had come out. We're still waiting sentencing. We talked about B. Simone and her conversation. Is she a real friend? And we also talked about Nelly and Ashanti and their parenting agreement. Jacqueline, any extra thoughts?
I have no extra thoughts about Nelly and Ashanti, just more so she knew who she was getting herself involved with. So it's just, there was a point where somebody said, well, they were arguing about where they were going to live. Ashanti's support system is in New York and his support system is in St. Louis. But the thing is, people also don't realize, he is worth quote unquote $75 million. We don't know if that's the real case, but $75 million in St. Louis goes a very long way versus $75 million in New York. So he's coming from being a big fish in a small pond to, this small fish in this big city. So, I mean, there's also those things you also have to consider. But then at the same time, you have someone who's a new mom. So I don't know. I do think at the end of the day, they're grown people who are having children. So I feel like at the end of the day, we can't sit up and, have these thoughts about people who, you know, we're only seeing a small crumb of their lives. I feel like she knows what she's doing. And if she doesn't, she knows to see her way out. She's done it before. So she could do it again.
Is it a big problem for them? Like they are really making it a big deal of like where they're going to live?
It's a topic in the show, but people are making a big deal online.
I definitely think
Like these are one of the questions you should ask,
that's
obviously, if
where.
you're combining
Mhm.
households, you
Yeah,
know?
that's where I'm like, are they just like with reality TV shows, right? Like, are they legit having the conversation in real time, or are they like, oh, this would be a good thing to talk about for our show because we already talked about it in real life, so we can kind of fast forward playing out like what we discussed in real life because yeah, they definitely should have talked about it before you even like make something official or like sign some official paperwork. No, like you should have those real serious, the big topics you should be able to talk about. Do you want children? Like, where do you want to live? Like, anything that you feel like for sure is very important to you. you should be able to be on the same page with your partner before it gets to certain levels. And it blows my mind every time when people like get certain places and like didn't have those conversations.
You'd be surprised. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you just caught up in some, some lust, some deep, nasty lust. And then before you know it, you have like 3 kids and you're living somewhere you
Oh,
didn't even plan on doing. I just don't it happens all the time. All right. Any thoughts on Diddy?
no, my extra thoughts are actually on B Simone. And so
Mm.
I wanted to, I think the conversation around how she treated her friend became a really big topic of conversation and we talked about it. So I thought that we could dive in since we lost our friendship audio. And have a yes, that was shade. I thought we could have a conversation. I wrote the question, do you have any non-negotiables for friendships? And if so, what are they?
I think for me, like, I just am not a fan of bullying. I'm just not. Like, I have had situations growing up where I've had girls who I thought were my friends. And I mean, unfortunately, they just turned into some of my biggest haters because for some reason or the other, I don't know. It's just I felt like and we talked about this where unfortunately I felt like I was a easy target for them because I was a quiet person. I wasn't really speaking up for myself and the girl felt like she could just say or do whatever until I literally snapped off on her one day and that was that. So it was just like I'm just my non-negotiables is like I just wanted to be a champion for my friends. Like I just don't think I want to be if I feel like Mm, if I do feel like I am embarrassed to be around this person or I'm not proud to be this person's friend, I I shouldn't be their friend.
Mhm,
If anything, I should just remain an associate or just someone that like for me personally, I just wouldn't want to surround myself around people that I know I will be like making a butt of jokes. I just really don't really care for that type of thing.
mhm,
So that's my non-negotiable, and that's something I would like have to talk about. We've had that conversation before. So I just for me, at the end of the day, even if it's a significant other or a friend, somebody who's proud to stand next to me, because I'll be proud to stand next to you. Because when push comes to shove, like, can I stand up for you and can you stand up for me? So
mhm.
that's it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we've definitely been having conversations on like morals and values and like that being very much so aligned because I'm like, can I co-sign some of the things that you are doing? Can I co-sign some of the behaviors, like the general you? Like, can I like get on board, right? And if I cannot, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to associate. Um, I think for me, I think of like just mutually beneficial, right? Like as soon as I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, I feel like that has led to some friendship breakups in the past where I'm like, I feel like I'm giving more than I'm receiving out of this dynamic. And I don't like that. I feel like I'm on the losing end. And I feel like if the benefits are not like mutual, like, hey, you getting something, I'm getting something, we're enjoying our
Mhm.
connection and relationship, like that's beautiful and that's how it should be. As soon as it starts to get a little like not a little, but like too outweighted on either side, I feel like what's the value? Like what is the value at that point in time? I feel like I'm I'm more of a benefit to you than you are to me. And so why do I keep you around, So,
Yeah, I have a question. What are your thoughts on French? And I think everybody can answer this question if they feel okay with it. But what are your thoughts on friends and money? Like, how do you feel about allowing your friends to borrow money from you? You know,
yeah. I mean, we
or
definitely
give money.
we hit on it in in the actual episode. Sorry. Um what about friends and money? Like, I have no issue with being like, yeah, I got this round. Like, oh, yeah, sure, cover the meal. Like, if I feel like I can genuinely afford it, like, I would do it. I've done it. Like, there's been times where I'm just like, loose with the little swipey swipe. And I'm like,
I'm
yeah.
talking about like, hey, I need like $500.
What do you need $500 for? And again, we get into like what do you need the $500 for? Is it a
Oh, my
legit?
car's getting repossessed.
Yeah, no, cuz then that's exactly what we talked about in the B Simone episode. I'm like, I would
Mhm.
have been asking you questions beforehand, and to me, your car getting repossessed at the level that I feel like I am at and we should be as where we are in life. If your car is getting repossessed, I'm like, you didn't do something correct, and I don't feel like it's my responsibility to bail you out. I don't. I do not. Now, did you need lesser support earlier on? Yeah, sure, I'll support you. But you've clearly made patterns and continuous decisions that I most likely advised you not to do. So it's not my responsibility at that point in time for your mistakes. I don't believe that. Now, do you need help earlier on? Like, things are happening, sure. Is it
Mhm.
out of your control and like like, sure,
Okay.
but not, yeah. Financially,
I
I
get
think that's where it gets really hard for me because I'm like,
Mhm.
sometimes you could plan for that ish. Like sometimes, like, you're making bad decisions, and other times it just is unfortunate. God laid off. But luckily, I was trying to have some savings. I wasn't looking at everybody like, you need to do things for me. Now, I was trying to make sure that I was set. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not as whatever, whatever, we'll round up, we'll do whatever. Yeah, no, I'm trying to make sure I got what I need. But I'm not looking at y'all like y'all need to provide for my life. Like, I'm not looking at you like, what's going on? I try to, have something to support myself. Now, yeah, I don't know. I guess.
I guess for me, it always when it comes down to friends and money, I'm like, I try to stay away from it as far as possible. Like, when we talked about like, oh, I swipe, you swipe when we're out, that's fine because it all adds up at the end of the day. If people are, if nobody's not being stingy. When people start getting stingy, then I gotta start not
Being
like, I don't
stingy.
wanna do that. I don't wanna do that, but it's just like, if you keep saying you don't wanna spend the money, then I guess we ain't spending no I ain't spending no money on you. So how's that? Like, if you don't wanna spend it, I'm gonna spend any money on you. And then I'll just continue to do what I'm doing, you know?
Mhm.
Or we could find something else in the middle. But then when it gets to, like, money, that's oh, man, I was about to say something. I'm in a bind, Nate. No, we ain't doing none of that. We just kind of like, oh, I just need to, it's a bad reference.
Okay.
It's like, it's just, I don't know. It's just, I get to that point where it sounds bad, but if we have to start borrowing money in that manner, we have to kind of keep it business. We can't use the friendship as a thing, you know? If it's to a point and I can't give it to you and I know because my thing is if sometimes I'll just give without the expectation of getting it back. Once I give it to you, I know it's gone and I don't care. I'm not even thinking about it. I don't want to like overthink like, dang, I gave her $100. I gave him $100 last week. Where my money at? Like, I'm just like, here you go. Here's the money. I don't, whatever, you know? But if we get into a point of, oh, let me pay you back type shit, I'm just like, not to turn into a loan shark, but just more so like, hey, your word is bond. And if you're not sticking to your word, I don't know if I can trust you again. And you can't come up this tree. So
Mhm.
we could just cut it and leave it right here.
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe because I dealt with family members like that and they just want to say like, "Oh, you told me I'm saying I gave you money. You told me you was going to come back on the 15th. It's the 23rd. Where my money at?" And you snap off on me talking about we supposed to be family. You supposed to trust me and get that I'm going to get it back to you. After that, fuck you cuz why are you even trying to manipulate me in that manner? So
That's
that's
what you
my
said.
boundary. All right. But look, we'll go back to it because we got a whole bunch of we got a lot to talk about today, but very interesting. It's nice to hear your non-negotiables. I know your non-negotiables, you know my non-negotiables. So any thoughts, Hassan? Or you're okay? Before I open
No,
it up.
I do agree with y'all. Like it is a certain it is a certain point, like, yeah, I don't mind helping friends out that is in need, or if it's a situation where they just so happen to lose their job or something like that. Cool, I got you. Like, if you can pay me back, you can pay me back, depending on the situation. Now,
Mm-mm.
depends on your habits too. So if you have bad spending habits or you're not financially responsible or anything like that, I'm not lending out no money. Like, nah, you got it. You can work through it. You got to change some shit first.
Mhm.
That's it.
Rule
That's
of
that's how I
thumb,
feel.
very much so. I don't give anything out that I'm not comfortable giving out. Like, you know,
Period.
I'm not doing it.
Like, mm,
Is it gonna make me feel away? I'm not gonna do it. All right, well that
no.
brings us into the catch up. Jackie, catch us up.
Gosh, I mean, all right. So I feel like this might be a longer catch up today. What are you thinking?
Mine is
It
too.
might be.
But I'll try.
Yeah, okay.
I
I'll
saw him
try
looking at us
to.
like y'all better summarize it up. Go ahead.
Well, on the lighter note of things, I finished my residency program. I got my certificate and got my pin, and I'm so happy. So that means I have been officially
Hey, brr,
working
brr,
this for a
brr, clap it
year.
up.
All right. I am no longer a new grad. Technically, new grad is like 2 years, but I'm not the brand new baby on the block. Okay, so I'm very happy about that. It's been a long road, especially as many times as I tried to quit this job. Okay, um, it was. I don't know. It was interesting to see all the people that stayed and the people that decided to go. Because I remember we started this program, and again, they said, "Hey, we had over 800 applicants, and we've only selected a few of you guys. So, you guys should this you're should be happy to be here, should be proud to be here. This is a program that, not everyone gets a chance to, work in." So I'm like, okay, but obviously, once you do the work, you're like, "What the fuck is this? Get me out of here." But I do say that if you are a nurse and you want to do a residency program, get into one because they really take your time, and they take their time with you, and also want to make sure that you are like, set up for success instead of just throwing you to the wolves like some other hospitals. Um, I'll say that and I'll leave that. So now that I've graduated, I get like a 15% raise. So I appreciate that. Um, and yeah, let the good times roll. Now I'll talk about this. I had a shift though that kind of messed me up a little bit. I don't know. A part of me feels like I want to save this for a different episode because it's kind of a long story, but I'll say this. I had my first death at the hospital this week. So this is the shift that shifted me. They gave me a couple. I have, a handful of patients I have to take care of. They gave me a patient that was hypoglycemic. If you don't know what that is someone with chronically low blood sugar. And if you have low blood sugar to a certain extent, you can go into a coma. And then I had another patient who was on hospice, meaning they're actively dying. And then I had, an open case, an open slot. That means I can get the next admission that comes in, and I don't know what I'm gonna see. They could be actively bleeding, they could be in pain, they could have like memory issues. I don't know what I'm gonna get. So I walk up to the nurse's station, and after I see my assignment, I walk up to the nurse's station. I'm like, "Hey, I got all this going on right now. I don't think I should be getting a new admit. I think if anything, I need to switch with someone, or you need to take one of my cases because these doctors are trying to tank this patient. Tank it means they're trying to like see if they can lower this patient's blood sugar to the point of like no return because they're trying to draw labs on them. And my thing is, once that happens, we only have a certain amount of time to get that done. I don't think I'm going. And then I also have a patient that's dying. And then if that patient dies, I only have a certain amount of time to get stuff done before rigor mortis kicks in and all the other crap. And it's just a whole bunch of shit. So I spoke up. I said, "Hey, I think I need to switch. I think this is gonna be a little too much for me." And they said, "Oh, Jackie, don't worry about it. We got you. We got you. That's what we're here for." And I'm like, I don't think so. I think I need to switch. And they're just like, "Oh, we got you, Jackie. You don't think we got you? We got your back." Everything that I said, worst case scenario, happened in the same hour. I got a new admit. While he came in, hasn't been seen yet by anybody. He just fresh off of surgery. I'm like, okay, I gotta evaluate him. I gotta see if he's bleeding. I haven't done anything. Meanwhile, this late, my a CNA walks up to me, and my other patient's blood sugar went down to 38. Mind you, 70 to 100 is normal blood sugar. 38, bitch, you're about to go into a coma. So I'm like, damn. Hold that thought, sir. I know you just got here. I'll be back. We're running over here trying to see if this lady's okay. Let me stop identifying a gender and stuff because HIPAA. But okay, patient, let me make sure you're okay. Let's grab your labs. Let's grab all this. All right, you're good. We're good. Okay, let me run back to this new admit. And then my charge nurse is like, "Is there anything I can help you with? Can you please give morphine to my dying patient, please? Because it's about time for him to get his stuff." I'm over here trying to admit this patient. Jackie, he died. Bitch, what? And I'm like, and I literally started going off on my charge nurse. And I was just like, I told you. And now you're looking at me like, Jackie, there's priorities. You gotta just move around. Like, don't don't talk to me. I literally almost cussed her out. I was like, do not talk to me. I told you this would happen. And now you act like you can't sit up and help me because I asked you to help me. And now you got no, go over there and you help me. So they over there taking care of the body, and I'm taking care of this new admit. And then now we gonna switch over. Now I gotta call family members. Now I gotta call stuff. Hey, you gotta come see your the patient. The patient passed away. I gotta call the coroner. I gotta call everything else. I'm just like, I'm getting to the point of frustration, and I'm like, I didn't cry, but I was just like looking at them. I'm like, again, and this is why every day I get proven that, Jackie, you're not stupid. You know what you're talking about. You need to listen to yourself and stand on it. Because at the end of the shift, you know what they told me? Oh, Jackie, you should have spoke up for yourself. What?
Should have been like, bitch. That's what you should have said.
That's what I said. I was like, bitch, I did. I did. And the fact that some other people turned around when somebody said that, they was like, actually, Jackie did. She did. She actually walked up to the station and said something. And y'all said y'all don't worry about it, Jackie. Everybody was like, yeah, I heard that too. Y'all kind of set her up for failure. Like, I was so happy that my other coworkers was like, hey, no, she actually did say something. And the fact that you over here acting like Jackie's not doing enough, y'all wrong for that. Cause she been told y'all that was too much. Like, it's too much. Anyway, so that's a shift that shifted me. From now on, if I feel like just stuff is just too much, I'm not gonna just allow somebody to just tell me, "Oh, don't worry about it. Let me ease your anxiety." Like, I'm just not gonna allow you to just. If I feel like it's gonna be too much, it's too much, and that's the story. That's the period. That's the sentence. That's that. And yeah, that's it. Aha. I don't know. I feel like my other catch up in my love life should probably be into the rest of the episode. I don't know. Erica, what do you think?
Both of our second catch ups are into the episode, so you could
So
tell it
should.
if you'd like.
Oh gosh. Cause. All right. So y'all know. All right. Mind you. Okay, guys. This is an announcement. We have a name change. Okay. So we keep going from like Sweet Cheeks to Assassin, but we'll just call this little lady Little Strappy. Okay. I like the name for obvious reasons, but yeah. So y'all know I just been hanging out with Lil Strappy
That
for a
doesn't
while.
necessarily explain the name change.
The name change for me is because I think it's better than the assassin. I feel like assassin is somebody that actually knows exactly what they're doing. And a part of me feels like I feel like they have an idea, but I don't think they actually know. Like, if you wanted to go about it the right way, you would do it this way. I feel like when
I
I
don't
think of assassin,
necessarily think there's a
I
way.
think of
I think
I
of
think an assassin is intelligent. Not to say not they're not intelligent, but it's just like in the manner that they're doing it, it's like real play a real like real calculated, real like
Mhm.
things are like set up
Mhm.
perfectly.
An
But I feel like
assassin.
this person is like kind of messy and kind of like a little out there. And it's just like, do you see yourself right now? And it's just like, I don't know. I just think when I think of assassin, I think of it something more calculated, more stealth, you know? And they're not really stealth. I don't know if that makes any sense to me. I'm like, well, okay, it makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you when I'm saying it?
I get what you are saying. I think for me, when I hear assassin, I think of more of what they did. They
Mm.
assassinated, they killed, they were conniving. Like, to me, that is like what I hear, like assassin, the impact on me, not necessarily how they went about killing, what they did, what the process was. I feel like they assassinated somebody. You know what I'm saying? They the like, you know what I'm saying? And this is me putting things on you, so I will just let you know that right up front. But I think, to me, we had a very difficult time naming her, because I think you had a difficult time knowing what you wanted out of this situation to begin with. So I think, for one, it was like, you can't name what you don't know what you want. And two, I think that the journey to us naming is like, we couldn't call it what it was, because I was like, wow, where what we just are saying
What is it?
nice
Yeah,
things, but you're not necessarily saying nice things about what you're saying. Like, every time I hear a story, it's not positive. And so
yeah.
I'm just like, how come we're struggling there? Um and so, I'm asking, like, what is the emotional journey to the name change? Not so much like surface level, I like it better. Like, is my
There shouldn't be anything emotional attached to the name Little Strappy. I feel like that is very that is nothing. If anything, it's really funny. And it's also, I don't know.
I think that's the point.
I just
I think we're
I just think it's funny.
okay.
I just think it's a funny name.
Okay.
But
Continue. Sorry.
I mean, I guess for my emotional journey with this person is, I was just kind of curious as to where we could go on a physical level with this person. And so, that piqued my curiosity. I mean, I do like them as a person because I actually like their personality. I think they're pretty cool. But as far as like, oh, what's the intention here? I can see what's up with it, I can see what's up with a little what's up. Um, but during my time getting to know this person gave off the impression that they wanted more and that it was a safe space to let my guard down in that manner. And I was just like, oh, well, maybe I could. But then certain things and certain events happened where unfortunately, it broke my trust and it kind of made me like, you know what, Jackie? Again, you know what you're talking about. Trust yourself. Okay. So, yeah. So, the events that occurred on a more recent level, this person has a friend that I would say we all know, and they hosted a sleepover. So I'm like, okay, no worries, let's go. I don't have a problem. Like, the host of the sleepover is a very interesting person. Let's have a good time. Let's all go. I know everybody that's going. Well, mostly everybody that's going. Okay. Sorry, almost,
I heard it.
oh, it's too
It's
late. All
picking up
right.
everything, girl. Welcome to the
Is
new
it?
mic life. Because I
Oh
was like, I
gosh,
think
it's
she
gonna be
was
so
tapping something under the desk. I was like, is she kicking something? I don't know. I was hearing it. But
that's too
I
much.
was, don't give it
Okay.
to Hassan. I said, that's his problem.
Freak these mics, okay? I'm trying not to move so much. But anyway, so I went to the sleepover with Lil Strappy. And well, we went together. And I'm like, okay, this is the first time that everyone's kind of seeing us together since we've kind of been hanging out on a more one-on-one personal basis. So at the sleepover, there was another couple there that I was just like, okay, I feel like I've seen these people before. Um, and we have. So we met them at a previous party. Now, one of the person in the one person out of that couple, it was just giving a little too much attention to Little Strappy, but in Little Strappy, it's not really like you know, they're not really declining the attention. They're kind of leaning into it. And I'm like, okay, interesting. All right. Now, an instance occurred where we were all sitting down, chilling out, and you know, me and Little Strappy were like just chilling out in the corner, and one of the that particular person came over and put their head on Little Strappy's like thigh, just laying down on this person's lap, and I'm just like, hmm. And then they're not doing anything, they're not moving them away. Meanwhile, their actual girlfriend is in the corner watching and observing. And there's just like visual, and there's just like, you could sense the energy shift in the room. And you're just like, hmm. Now, it was brought to attention, the attention was brought. And so I'm like, huh. Okay, so should I feel a way about this? I mean, it does make me feel uncomfortable. Hmm. You know what? I'm uncomfortable with it. That's the decision. I don't really like what's happening here. So I let it be known. I let Little Strappy know, like, I ain't really like that. That was kind of a little off. And I can't really like see myself like being outward with you if you're going to be doing things like this, because this is not really what I would like my person to be doing. Someone that I'm representing, if they're supposed to represent me and I'm representing them, that's not, I just don't want to be involved with someone like that if they're going to be doing that with other people in front of my face and amongst friends. That's a little too much. So they felt like, oh, well, I didn't do anything. They came over to me, and what's the problem? And then when more information came out, this person actually gave them a hickey before. So, out of pure fun and entertainment. So, I'm just like, you're claiming that it's no big deal and they came over to you, but y'all have prior history of heavy flirting before. Despite the fact that this person has a whole significant other, and apparently they just, I don't know what they got going on in their personal arrangements, but I know for me, that's not how I would like to get down, you know? So I can't make judgment on them, but that's just not, I just wouldn't deal with that? So we've had talks about it. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my feelings were hurt because I'm just like, I think if anything, my ego was hurt out of anything. I don't know. I'm just kind of. I'm sorry, y'all.
You got it.
It's a little hard to have the conversation when you are like, I'm trying to be vulnerable, guys. But long story short, I think for me, my ego was bruised. I'm happy I just removed, like, kind of gave some way to my ears so I could hear myself speak a little bit. But yeah, my ego was bruised in that situation, but I had to kinda put myself, back to reality and just kinda like, "Okay, Jackie, this is not your girlfriend. This is someone that you're just having a good time with. They're not gonna be here for a very long time." So, again, this person try to make you feel, or is making you feel like it could be something and that I could let myself down in that way, but you knew better. So, again, this is the lesson. This is not your person in this way. So, you know, take a step back and, just put yourself back in place. Just put yourself back in check and it's okay. You know. Now that person didn't really like the conversation because, well, dang, I like you. Why are you pulling back from me? But it's just like you got to evaluate how you're actually moving. Like, would you want to be with somebody who acts like that? You know? Like you got a whole bunch of friends that, you know, if the opportunity presented themselves, would you go? You know? Like I don't have those type of friends. I have y'all as friends, and I think you all are very lovely ladies, but I would not cross that boundary with you guys because that's just not how I roll. And like I just think that it's interesting when you're in like the lesbian world and how like friends could sometimes be, you know, y'all also like the same type of people. So things might get a little messy and little, ins and outs and stuff like that. I think it's like that with the gay community as well. Like, you might be friends or you might have had a past situation, but you decided to be friends. And so it just gets a little weird like that. Is that something I want to deal with on a regular basis? No. But is that something new to me, especially when it comes down to me being involved in something like this? Yes. But I mean, it just comes back. Um, all these thoughts just come right back around to the fact that, like, at the end of the day, the person that I really want to be with, like, actually put my all into, would make sure I felt very secure in our situation and just wouldn't act like that. You know, I'm happy I was able to have the conversation with them and they were able to receive the information and didn't take offense to it and actually took a moment to like reflect on their actions. But I mean, it's just, just more examples of like, dang, Jackie, how do you want to be treated? And what do you want? What type of dynamic do you want in your relationships from now on? So yeah, that's it. We're still hanging out, but it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, let's not be overly delusional about stuff, you know?
Just a question, just even off the last one. I'm like, how are you, how do you not be overly delusional? I guess my first question is, what was the arrangement with Little Strappy? Like
We
the
really just said like our us talking like original, like what is our agreement with
what
each other?
page did you all agree to be on when you first left that like party that we were at that kind of kicked off this whole relationship? What did y'all
Hmm.
discuss? What was the page you both agreed to be on? Did you have that conversation? Because it seems like y'all were on different pages is where I'm coming from. It seems like what you are saying is this was supposed to be a physical relationship, right? Like that's what I'm hearing you say. And I'm hearing
Mhm.
you express that she wanted this to be pursuing a intimate romantic relationship. She wanted to actually have an exclusive relationship at some point with you, is what I am hearing from what you are conveying. And so, of
Hmm.
course, off bat, y'all aren't on the same page. So I'm just like, when did we decide? So when did we realize that? And when did we decide to have the conversation so that like that is clear? I think that that would have also helped in regards to getting to this story of like, y'all are in the room and things are happening. Because I'm like, if we were aligned that this was just a physical relationship, whatever rules you have around physical relationships, that usually means I can't control if you also have a physical relationship outside of I mean, whatever. If you do, that is what it is, whatever you all agreed on. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, what was the agreement? Because I think a lot of this could easily be resolved if you were having the clear, like, conversation of like what we are entering into. And I feel like that didn't happen, which is why there's so many emotions around this situation because you both are approaching it from two different like intentions. And so like I'm curious about like what conversations were had. Like was this the first time as you all are having this argument? Like is that the first time that y'all are talking about like what you actually want to be? Because that makes sense. It makes sense that like y'all are arguing about it because that's when y'all are finding out that y'all are coming at it from two different experiences. So I guess I'm just, and especially when we talked about compartmentalizing, like to me, that was like you being like, how do you make sure that you are doing what you feel like is best for you? And I'm like, you have to name it. You have to call it what it is. Like and calling it what it is to yourself is also calling it what it is to literally anybody who would ask you about it, which includes the other person that you're involved with, right? Like I'm so I know you didn't answer the question, but my question is, what was the arrangement? Like, did you ever talk about it?
Okay. So to answer that, we did talk about it. We talked about the fact that, hey, you know, I like you. You like me. Okay, cool. You are leaving. So this can't be anything like long term. This can't be anything like permanent. So in the meantime, between time, we're gonna have a good time, you know, not for a long time. We're just gonna have a good time. That's pretty much the thing. Now, for me, that that for me, and I'm speaking for myself, for me, that includes me not being so emotionally invested. But for her, she's naturally like, okay, this kind of comes with it too. So you should still be okay with, I'm I'm opening myself to you. I'm expressing my feelings to you. Like, I'm having a good time with you. I'm able to like do this, and you should be able to do the same. Me, I know for me, I have a hard time with that because once I start doing that shit, we go together. And I feel this form of, this is, we talked about it, the bad word territorial. Like, I feel like this is the person that I'm actually, if I'm unleashing these feelings for, speaking on, doing things for, I feel like I have some form of entitlement to this particular relationship
But you didn't want
in
that.
in a manner. No, I'm saying like in a manner that's different from everybody else, you know?
But you didn't
But
want anything different from this. Like, to me, it was, I don't know.
okay, and that's what I'm telling, and that's how I'm explaining, and I hope that you understand. Like when I said, like, oh, if this is gonna be physical, I don't want to be involved emotionally. But for her, it does involve being emotional, even if it's not exclusive.
Mhm.
But for me, that's hard to do.
Yeah,
So
you're
I
saying as
can't.
soon as you start getting vulnerable with someone, you start getting territorial over them. What about,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
very like,
And
okay,
this is
like,
a,
okay, I'm not committal, but I feel committal in a way, and I feel like there's something that should be here and established that is exclusive to us instead of like open to the whole
yeah.
world, you know?
My questions become like with anyone previous, right? Like I guess I go to the plug. Like I go to him and I'm just like,
Hmm.
was that something that you felt like you were being emotionally vulnerable in as well? Because I know that that was
Hell
a
no.
physical, so that was just
No, hell
physical.
no. That's too scary.
Hmm.
That man was scary. Like, just he was also a not a very, he is not anyone I felt like I could be safe emotionally with, just because of how he speaks, reacts to things, and how he handles situations, even down to his mother. Like,
So
he's just not, and he was just not a person I felt any form of emotional safety
so
with.
with the with little Strappy, you felt like, oh, they're presenting as someone that you can be emotionally safe with, but like you still didn't want the emotional connection.
Yeah, because it's like, you're not my girlfriend.
But did
Like,
you want them to be? But you didn't. So that's why I'm like, so
no. So I'm starting off saying like no. That's why I'm like, I didn't
I'm
want to,
lost.
because that's what comes with it. That's what I'm like, I'm hoping, I hope
I guess I'm
So
like,
so we get
anytime,
what you're
yeah, go.
asking. So it's more so of, since you knew that she told you that, hey, this is how I am, even when I'm trying to be physical, like I'm like this emotionally, with you knowing
I
that.
She didn't say, we didn't have a conversation stating, oh, well, this is how I am. This is just what she ended up doing,
s-
which was like,
so
okay,
at any
as when you
point
are
did you like, hey, like
like,
I
hey, chill
understand,
out with that
yeah,
shit.
chill out with that because I'm like this, and if it's not like this,
I
then
have said, I even stated when we first started chatting, like, hey, once I like you, it gets a little funky. Like, I'm just, and that's just me just state, like, actually, like,
We're just being extra.
And thanks for words from our sponsors.
all right. But yeah, I mean, again, it's not the fact that it's her fault. Like, I just know me. I just know once I feel like I'm able to open up to somebody in that way, I just feel like there should be some like established relationship here. You know, there's like, I feel like, okay, we go together now. But that's my toxic trait. And that's the thing that I actually have been very open and vocal about. I've talked about it on this podcast. Like, once I feel like in this way, in this manner with you, like I like you, once I like you, I'm like, we go together. Hence why I don't have many situationships like that. You know, I prefer them. I prefer not. I actually rather just be alone, because either we're dating or we're not. Because once the waters get muddy like that, I know me, I gotta bow out because I don't know how to act. You know,
so you
I know
saying
me.
you want to
Mhm.
bow out? Do you know how to bow out?
That's I had the conversation. That's when we had the conversation after the party. I was just like, "Hey, I'm not in the business of changing who you are. Like, you can still do whatever you want to. I just know for me, I can't manage. Like, we can't talk and just act in this way. Like, when we're by ourselves, like we actually are together, and then when we're not, with and when we're in public and stuff, we have to act regular. Like things are just it's just weird to me. And I first off, I just know who I am as a person. Like I know there's plenty of people who want to do this with me full time. And it's just like whether you want to do it with me full time or not, I can't manage my own emotions like this. So, I'd rather not. So, I was actually in the process of saying like, "Hey, we could kind of like do like this because I'm cool." Um, but I think with the conversation, it was just kind of like, no, I actually like really mess with you like that as well. But, you know, I think again, I just knew better to like manage myself like emotionally. And I felt a little too, I don't know, I got a little too open too fast. It's okay. It's been a while since I've been in something like this. So it comes with practice. So, I mean, I can own up to that.
Okay. I'm excited to hear about the boundaries that you set since you're still going to have a relationship with this person. Just to be, you know, on the same page, right? People's emotions were invested. And, I think, I'm excited to hear, like, okay, well, what does the boundary really look like so that if this is just physical, then it is what it is, stays in place, and how you're going to make sure that you upkeep that. I personally am. I think sometimes I get confused when we say like not being, I guess, vulnerable and emotional. I don't know if you think of them as the same thing. I think that you can. I guess I'm just like I'm wondering what it's like. Like all of my things that I've just wanted to be in physical things with. I feel like I don't know. I'm just trying to think like, do I have this thing where I intentionally try to not be vulnerable or emotional? I don't know. I need to really like reflect because I'm like, what was I doing? Like what was happening for me? I'm trying to just like reflect. I don't know if it's like a switch that I turn off. I just have my logic kicks in. Like I'll share emotions, but logically I know that this is not going to be it. Like just because I'm sharing with you doesn't necessarily mean anything because I'll share with anybody. You ask me a question, we'll talk about it. But it's if they are an amazing person, I think that is what's going to change me liking them, not me giving out my emotions, Like, so receiving things that I'm like, oh, this is actually seems great is what is to me the thing that like, yeah, I don't know.
I
So
think that's the thing that made me kind of like I said, that I feel like the actions from that other person made me feel safe in a way to like in that moment to like, okay, let me let my guards down a little bit because, I love the fact that they're considerate. I love the fact that we can have really good open conversations and just like, like they don't really run from conflict. I like that. Well, they do, but it's just
definitely was
like
running.
they
Definitely
definitely
I
run.
avoiding.
I was about to say, like,
They definitely run for conflict. But it's just like I guess when it's like time for us to talk, it's just like okay,
Because
like
they're not the
they're
one
not.
who's being, yeah, they're running from. Don't put anything up. But I'm sure it's good to talk about random things that might be contentious.
I
But
guess
she
for
seems
me,
to
when
be
I've
running
had
away from anything that's going to reveal anything on her. Is the vibe I get, but I don't know her as well.
that is a fact until I actually state like, no, like I guess maybe the way I'm coming about it is like not in a aggressive manner. It's just more so like you gotta can't run because this is that, this is that. Yes or no? And it's kind of like, you kind of can't run from that because if you run from somebody that just said, "Hey, is this what I see?" and you run away from that simple statement, then I don't want to talk to you. But I have
Yes.
had conversations with people who it turns into a "Well, why you asking that type of question?" Or why, what's got you all concerned. It turns into a whole like flip gaslighting situation. Like she hasn't really done anything like that. It's just more so like if I just sit up and present the facts to her, it's a yes or a no, and where are you coming from? Which I appreciate. Like, if she was the type of person to just act like, I don't know what you're talking about, then I can't have no conversation with you. Actually, I might fight you in that point because
Oh Lord.
I just, I'm so serious. Like, because why are we having these conversations? Like if she
Then what was
turned
the
around and
argument from that night? Because y'all said y'all always arguing until 4 in the morning or whatever time it was.
I guess for her, she didn't think of it as like, oh, well, this person did the action to me. So why am I in trouble? My thing is telling her, like, the thing is, you guys had a situation prior that you failed to mention to me, like that was the girl. So there was omission there. And then also, like, imagine if I brought you to a party with my friend and I have a situation with a person that it's very light, it's very casual. I don't anticipate doing anything with this individual. Like, say it's a guy and we just do a little flirty back and forth. It's not nothing serious, but I invite you to this party and then we have a situation like that. And you're kind of like, well, what was that? And then I just turn to you and just be like, oh, it's nothing, or I ain't do nothing. But then I come back to you and say, oh, well, me and this person have had the flirty back and forth. Like, how would you feel? You know? So
Well,
Without any
2
titles,
things.
that's what I'm like,
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, 2
entitled to.
things. It's like,
Go
1, y'all
ahead.
don't have a title of being together, so even if she didn't tell you, she really didn't have to, like, y'all not together, and
It
then,
is
like,
she
dirty,
didn't have she
but
didn't have to.
I'm just
yeah,
like,
so it's technically
yeah.
not omission if because it's like, yeah, we're not together, and then
I
also
mean, it was
too,
omission.
her not doing anything was doing something like, yeah, if somebody is on me and they trying to do something like, yo, like I'm not on that, like, yo, this person's here. But again, y'all not together, so I can see her letting it rock with it. So
That's why I was just like, okay, well, I'm at that point. Again, that's why I had to sit back and say, okay, my ego is bruised, but I'm putting my ego in something that's not even a real like relationship. So let me get back to reality and understand I'm not with this person. We're just hanging out, we're chilling. It's just that I got my feelings involved in something that, I shouldn't have. So let me take a step back. I know you don't like the fact that I might take a step back and you kind of feel that shift in me naturally, but I'm just trying to unfortunately I have to protect myself. And this is just how I go about it.
Mhm.
If you don't like it and you want to change it, we might have to, there's some things that have to change in this relationship. Or just how you live your life in general. But I'm not in the business of changing people and how they live. So I feel like you should just be okay with the fact that, okay, Jackie's just not going to be that open and available like that. It's okay. It's okay. All right. So y'all good on that? Let's let's move on. Uh any
Yeah,
last
well,
questions?
no. Um, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry that you went through the situation. I think, everything um wasn't necessarily like how you envisioned it to take place. Um,
No, but I know that's why I don't do these type of relationships anyway. Like I already know how I get down. I just prefer if somebody comes along or and just wants something exclusive and then they just want to work on it like that and build from there. That's my ideal type of situation to be in every time, all the time, you know?
mhm.
yeah,
Cuz I
well,
don't
Because
like to
yeah,
share.
well, as
they
long as
said
you
it from the
know,
beginning,
yeah, as long as you
right? Like
know,
I'm
like,
pursuing
No, and
you,
okay, again,
Jackie.
this is one thing I'm not sitting up and telling people like, "Oh yeah, I could do a little." I've always been very vocal for the fact that monogamy is my preferred thing to do over 100%. But I'm not gonna be obtuse and act like people feel like they can do something and in reality they're probably another thing. You know? Like, and sometimes it may take a person a minute or two to really realize that about themselves. I know me. That's just my preferred thing to do.
Mhm.
Like, and
So
I'm
so
not in the
why are
business
you
of convincing
still
somebody else to do
so why are you
that.
still in it then if you know you can't do it?
Because I'm like, cause it's I like the company. I like
The
the
You
person
company
can
and
ha
I
you
like the
can
or
have
company.
the
I'm about to say you
I
can
like
have
the person
company
and
from
I
anybody.
like the person and I like the company. And it's just like me right now. I'm just like, okay.
I also wrote
Well
down
then
physical
go ahead.
curiosity. I wrote down physical curiosity. I wrote down typically not initially something you experience with men. And then I said exploring sexual identity. So I'm just wondering, like, again, because it's not typically something that you do, I'm like, was this just like a, hey, I'm new in this, lifestyle? Like, and
I
I
think
would like to,
practicing. I think I've always been comfortable with the fact that I've been bisexual. Like I've always been okay with that. Like it's not
that's
anything
news
like.
to me because I found out when.
Well, I've actually so I me telling you that I had sex with a woman versus like me actually like understanding that I do like women and I like men. I've always liked both.
No,
So
that is news to me.
yeah, I mean I don't really again, I'm not I guess maybe that's just who I am. I'm just not I mean, I've may have dropped hints here and there and it's either you gotta catch it or you don't. Cause even I talk to like my other friends and they're like, oh, we always knew you like girls. This is, but it's just like it's nothing. I'm like, announcement I like like, it's never kind of been like that for me. It was just kinda like
Interesting.
a I've always just kinda like, when it comes around, you'll know when I tell you type shit, like or when you'll see me do it, it's like that's just how you know. Like, I don't know, it's just not I don't wear it on my,
I
like, forehead or
You don't
anything
even
like
talk
that.
about it. Like I've never been in like conversations with you where you're just
But
like,
even when I talk about guys, do I really talk about, "Dang, look at that," ooh,
I didn't say
I'm
that it
not really
has to be
that.
sexual like like what is that called? Sexualizing someone. That's not what I'm
Oh,
saying. But
yeah.
like you've never been fluid with like your pronouns if you're talking about like, oh, like, when I get married someday, like it could be her, she, wife, like it's just in any concept of dating. And we talk about dating a lot.
Mhm.
I've never heard you say like could be a girl. I hear us joke about, oh, one day I'm gonna be a lesbian because these men suck, and we make those jokes, but I don't think that I've ever heard you be like, no, like for real, it's something that I would be interested. Like, it's never been anything that I have ever clocked about you before. It's never kind of been like you share that topic with me of interest. One, it's very off topic, but kind of a not really. But I'm also just like someone who wants children. I'm interested. Like, even when we have those types of conversations, you've never been like,
Mhm.
yeah, like it could be with a woman and I would do a sperm bank or what, like those there's tons of conversations about like what procreating even looks like for, same-sex couples, and like it has never been an explored conversations, but we've talked about your desire to have kids and it's never like those things haven't come up, but you're saying you've always felt these ways. And I just feel like these are to me natural conversations that would come up if like you were like, comfortable when
I guess for me,
thought about it often.
how I kind of move through my fluidity is kind of like if right now I'm in the headspace of being with a man, like the thoughts of like the woman doesn't really like come up, because my head's not really there at that moment in time. Like it's kind of like this is my focus. Like I'm kind of just with that person, and if that person is a man at the time, like I'm on my like I'm with this man. I'm practicing heterosexuality.
Okay.
That's just where I'm at. Having kids, I've always been that person where, freezing the eggs, sperm donor. I've had a joke before, like a sperm donor party, and that doesn't have anything to do with being with a man or a woman. It's just more so me wanting to be a mom more than anything. So me being a parent is kind of outside of like the parent, the other parent and stuff like that. So I don't know, that's just kind of how I thought about motherhood in itself. So I thought about like, maybe I should try getting married, getting divorced, and then maybe I'll try women afterwards, or maybe whatever. I'm just kind of like, I don't really know where life is gonna take me. And I don't really want to predict the future in that way and be so definitive as far as like what it is. Like I always said, like I might just be a single person for the rest of my life. I've always entertained that thought in itself too. So, like I don't know. I've been very just open with where my love life is. Like, I don't know. I'm just going where the not wind takes me, but it's just like if I feel like this is where my destiny is at that time, that's just where I'm residing. As far as me like when I have conversations with you, because it is kind of exhausting to sit down if talk about like if I do it like this, and if I do it like that, and if I do it like this, because I actually am entertaining everything. Like, what if I am a single mother by myself, going through life by myself? What if I am deciding to be married to a man and live my life with that person? Or what if I decide to be with a woman and we're going down this partnership together, and
I
how we're
would
going to
love to
navigate
sit
that?
here and talk about those conversations with you. I know you're saying it's exhausting, but I'm just like, huh, I've never even
It's I guess it's
we've never had them before is what I'm saying. So I like in regards to I'm just stating, which is
maybe
it is what
I
it is,
guess
but we've
I
not
don't
had
know. I guess maybe
conversations.
because I don't know. It's not I don't know, I just always felt like, I do feel like you had more of a relationship headspace, like, you've been more open to having a relationship and wanting and desiring a relationship more than, say, me, because I've been very, relationship, adverse for a very long time. So, I mean, maybe we just haven't had those moments to, like, talk about it because I didn't really have, like, a positive headspace about it.
Hmm.
So, I don't mind entertaining, like, a quick thought or 2, but it's nowhere that I actually reside and lived in because I didn't really think of it as a reality for me at the time because, I mean, shoot, I gotta work on myself, and there's many things that are I feel like I gotta work on personally. So, I don't know, because when we get down to the crux of it, I mean, you know yourself, you know you wanna be married to a man, you know you don't want kids, like, you have these, like, "This is where I am at." For
Mhm.
me, I'm very, like, could go either way. So,
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay, wait.
Well,
Before
more
we
to
move on,
discuss. Oh, okay. Just a
I
catch up.
got one more question. And this
Just
is
Lord help us.
I got one more question, then we can move forward. So, and my question is really more so on the other side. So, do you feel like, Jackie, that you're kind of forcing a person to be exactly what you want them to be? And what I mean by that is, um, I've heard of the legend of this person. That's why we call them an assassin. So, and hearing about how they all, how they, how they interact with with other friends and all that other stuff. So you've seen
mhm,
this before,
mhm,
and now with her saying like, "Hey, in this situation, I'm used to being, physical touching and, emotionally doing all of this other stuff." With them letting you know that and also mentioning that, "Hey, I'll like that you," or speaking up about, "Hey, I see you kind of pushing back a little bit." Like, do you feel like you're kind of forcing that person to be in a box that you want them to be?
I mean, I think for them, they can still do what they like to do because, if you're still you can operate in the way that you want to. I'm talking about myself, you know? Like I gotta manage myself. And if they don't like the fact that I pulled away or manage my feelings and expectations in a certain manner now, like they have the right to leave, you know? Like I that's just where I'm at.
But wouldn't it be also a good, I guess, a good favor to be like, "Hey, I see that you want this and I can't provide you for this, so let me go ahead and walk away." Wouldn't that be a thing to do too?
I mean, I should.
That was my question. Next up. All right. Erica, what's going on with you?
Should I was like, should I? I was like, I'm letting you know this ain't no healthy situation. I'm just more so like, hey, look, I'm here and I I know what's going on now. I have a better headspace of what's happening here. Just let me do me. And if you don't like it, we can all move on. For me, it takes me a minute to get up and walk away. I know that about myself too. But once I'm ready and, the time opens up, then I'll do so. You know, that's it. That's all I got.
Great. Thanks for sharing, Jackie. My
That's why I
catch
was
up.
gonna throw it in during it.
My catch up is, a resurrection of my family drama. Okay, we've gotten away from it. It's not been the center of, life as it was season one. Okay, season two, it's been a little decentralized, but we're back, baby. Okay. um, so without getting into like full blown on details about my family and their health struggles, because some people want to be private, even though y'all already know. So the story's gonna tell itself. So obviously this is an old story for you all, but not the audience. And so, bad things tend to happen in the middle of the night. I don't know if that always happens, but sometimes they do tend to happen in the middle of the night. And I just feel like in the middle of the night, what are you doing? I mean, Jackie might be working, but other people, you know, the 9 to 5 crowd is sleeping in the middle of the night because they got a 9 a.m. Um, and I don't know what you all do in regards to your routine, but like my phone is like literally never on volume. It's not. And so, it just would vibrate to wake people up. That's the thing. So my little sister is local to Chicago, and um tends to get the brunt of it because of her location as it relates to like her ability to be available. They think that like she should be available all the time, especially because she's there. Um, so long story short, some medical things were happening, and of course, again in the middle of the night, I actually did answer my phone this time. I was like, "Oh, okay." I changed my settings because my stepmom, one, we don't talk. So she's definitely not in the favorites. But she has been added so that I will get her phone call because my settings are like I don't like if my phone rings beyond 9 p.m. from even you all, like I won't get that. I have to actively go in and like check my phone. That's like how I have it set up. Um Call me twice. So yeah, anyway, I answered. My little sister didn't, and she got a lot of heat for that. And I was just, I guess, at the end of the day, really proud of my little sister because, she was like, listen, when the phone rings at 2 o'clock in the morning, you should probably expect that I'm not going to answer. Like it's very normal, a very normal practice. I will try my best. It's not intentional that I'm ignoring you and seeing the phone ring, but you should be more understanding that like people, it's very common, you know? I think by the time 7 a.m., maybe 8 a.m., like you should expect a call. Also, we are not doctors. And so we can't actually help. Like we can't actually do literally anything to support this whole situation. But I guess, sit in the hospital if that's like what we want to do at 2 o'clock in the morning when we get up and then have to drive the 2 hours to make it back to the hospital. Um, so I was just proud of my little sister for setting her boundary because she was like, listen, I made some changes to my settings, but I don't want you to yell at me for things that are beyond my control. And I truly I agree and I support her. Um so, things are going well from a medical perspective. Things are fine. That kind of gets me into my like second story that you've all heard. We just did our girls trip and vacation episode. During that girls trip, I blew up my family again. And basically, I'll try and summarize the story, but woke up from a nap, got a family group chat message. It is like June 20th or whatever day it is, 16th, 15th, whatever. We're in the teens. We're in mid June for whatever the timing of the story is. And this text is an invite to uh my stepsister's son, my nephew, so to speak. It's very weird for me to say these things because I'm also like I have no relationship with like half of the people in the story. Um, but sent a text that was like, "Hey, we're gonna have a birthday celebration for my son. We're going to take a trip in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I think." 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks because they left on the 2nd of July. This is why the dates of the story matter. Like, if you would like, you can join us 2 weeks from now to, fly and go to Disneyland. Which one's in Florida? World?
Disney World.
Go to Disney World. If you can't make it, donate. Check us out. The the text came with a picture, a photo that had him in the picture, then my nephew, and also had like two little black girls in the picture, which I assume are like my twin nieces. And so I get this text message, and my little sister calls me, and she's hot about it, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I genuinely don't think that this is an invite. I can't
Mm.
genuinely think that you actually want me to come to something without any kind of notice. Like, I genuinely think you don't want me there when you do not respect my time to be able to plan to be there. Like, you don't want me there. That's what I'm hearing. Like, you're just kind of, I'll lob it over, and if they can come, sure, whatever. But like, do you genuinely care to have me? I take that as no, because you would have been thoughtful and planful and communicated that you wanted me around. And without that, I'm not gonna, and we have no relationship and we never talk. So let's also add that in. So obviously I don't think that is a genuine, legitimate invite. Um, and then my father's not doing great. And so, that in combination of everything that's happening, we wrote a little texty mexy response back. And it's funny because, it was a collaborative effort, but then also not, because I think, they agreed that there are portions that they would have left off. And I'm also just like, y'all can have it all. You can have all my thoughts. So yeah, I basically wrote a response. It was like, I just want to make sure that like my father's healthy and doing well and can get there. And, please make sure that you're whatever. I think there's that. The second part of the invite was like, I don't know if this is a genuine invite because you're inviting me to fly somewhere in 2 weeks. So I think that. And it feels like you almost would prefer the cash. You already included the cash link. You didn't even let people offer to be like, oh, we can't come, but like, here's a present. Like, you were just like, want to let you know that we will definitely take your money though. So of course I chimed in and was like, it seems like it's this money grab. And that was my text message. And of course, it got misconstrued, being like, oh, I'm so sorry if you don't have it like that, if you don't have money like that, but whatever. And I was like, oh, interesting that that's the part of the text that you're going to focus on, which I get it because it's the part that, we're all a little insecure over, money is a very sensitive topic. Um, so I can understand that that is something that you're like, I'm going to start with that. And I was like, yeah, I have money. If I wanted to join you, I really could. If I cared about you, I really could. Um, I'm telling you, I don't think you care about me joining you, is really the point of the message, as well as please take care, Dad. Like, don't stress yourself out. Florida's hot. Do you think you should be walking a whole park right now? Um,
Mm.
okay. Yeah. Anyway, dropped that. My dad's chiming in like, I'm fine. Got a doctor's note. I'll be good. And then is like, why is there so much drama around a child's birthday? And I just feel like everyone missed the point. Because like, when did I talk about the child? I actually didn't. I was actually talking about the fact that like, I don't think you want us to be there for the child. That's the only connection to the child.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, try to send her a separate little text message and be like, hey, like, we should talk because clearly we have things that we should talk about. She's like, you keep coming for people that I care about, so why would I talk to you? And I'm like, message received, because I'm obviously not a part of the people you care about because I keep coming for people you care about. Hmm, okay.
Can I ask a question? Did we get down to the bottom of when they actually planned this situation, this particular party? Because I feel like I know where where you guys are coming from, like, this feels very last minute, and you guys were I felt
They
like
planned it
you all
last
were
minute.
trying. Yeah,
Mhm. I don't know when they
yeah.
planned it, but, after my stepsister-in-law called me, she was like, "I
Mm.
want you to know this message, this text right here is the first time I'm finding out about this. Like, it was not communicated to just, you know, that side of the family, and we left the Jenkins out. Like, that is not the case. Like, I am just now getting it, and my girls are on the invite." And I was like, yeah, that information is very, very helpful because I definitely assumed that y'all already know because your girls were on the invite. So thank you for sharing that you didn't know and that you
Mm.
genuinely think that they planned it last minute, and so that's what I'm hearing is that they genuinely planned it last minute. And that's
Does
fine.
that change anything, with you? I know your original feelings were because,
I
I guess
almost
you
think
didn't
she
know
could
about
have
it?
texted anything. It
Mhm.
could have been, we're having a 4th of July, and maybe 4th of July seems a little, smaller. But if you're asking me to travel somewhere, I don't know. The root of the issue to me is I don't like having relationships that are fake. I don't like doing it. And it's a fake relationship. Why are you inviting me? We don't speak. Like, why are you inviting me like we actually talk to each other? Like, that actually is just annoying and infuriating in itself because what is it for? Why do you want me around? Why? Like, genuinely tell me why you want me around. You don't have a relationship with me. I don't invite people I don't have relationships with. Like, we gotta, I don't know, at least negative relationships with. We'll start there. Like, I'm not inviting people around that I have negative relationships with. Like, so I'm confused as to the invite in general. Um, Without a conversation, because she has yet to apologize for going off on me a few years ago for my birthday. Apologize to my sisters, but she never apologized to me. You went off on me. You drug my mama through the mud, and she didn't have nothing to do with the situation. So I never got an apology. So why are we even talking if you can't even acknowledge you're wrong to me? I've never even wronged you. Now, this message might have been a lot of like, why is she coming with me with such intensity? But I've never wronged you. You have in fact wronged me, along with your whole family. Anyway, that's it. That's my catch up in regards to like what's happening with me. I guess I just to summarize that have been having a lot of thoughts around like, and I kind of spoke to it last episode, but like, is this something I want to pursue? Right? Am I going to redo what I did with my stepmom? Is this going to be like
Hmm.
a let's sit down and craft a message and try and have a conversation and be open to resolving this relationship? Or am I going to, when people show you who they are, like believe them? Like, because if we wanted to have a relationship, we probably would have since I've known you for the better half of my life. Like, since I've known you at least 27 years of my life. Like,
Hmm.
are should I just take those 27 years and be like, that's what it is? Or should I try and like do something and resolve this relationship? Um, does the fact that they are family in quotes even matter? Like, should I just let it be what it is? And, as my sisters have said, make your own little family, do your own little thing. You don't need to do anything with these people. You know, and we can definitely talk about like what does my relationship look like because it's just full of boundaries. And what does this relationship look like, without closure? Like, do I need closure? Like, so that's what I think that we're having this conversation with is like, what are the boundaries if I have to be around these people and what's going to make me feel
Hmm.
good? And also, what does it look like if I don't ever get closure? If I don't ever get to have the conversations that I feel like would be very healing to me? How do I continue to heal myself? So, yeah, that brings us to the main
Um,
topic.
okay. I guess it does. I just wanna say, like, you know, I mean, if anyone's open to having a conversation with you, like, take it, and if you don't feel like you're in that place yourself, you don't have to, because I know the person that you spoke out to, like, on a separate text message was just like, "Okay." this is not the time. I don't want to have this conversation because I feel like we're going back and forth and having the same type of issue every other year
She's like,
or,
"You always
you
have
know.
your meltdowns."
Hmm. That's a little dismissive because it's just like, well, why are we having these quote unquote meltdowns? You know, it's like, now, I know you said, "Hey, I've never wronged you," but you feel like they've wronged you in some form or fashion of like like just excluding you and your own family out of the situation where you all should be one big happy family and you guys are always seen as an afterthought and you felt like the way this was done was in an afterthought way. Now, in reality, it wasn't an afterthought, it was just more so like everybody, this was all a last minute thing and in that way, it's like I could see you yourself saying, okay, well, I thought it was considered a last minute thing. I didn't know it was last minute for everybody, but that's just the way I received it when I got a last minute quote unquote invitation to a place that's not cheap, but you also expected me to show up financially for you all in a way if I can't show up physically. And, that's just not how I would particularly have gone about it. I'm just speaking on you. I'm just speaking
Mhm.
on how you would go about it. And it could like in that instance, okay, there was we didn't have a full understanding of the matter, hence we may have overreached. But because of my previous experiences with you, this is how we got here.
Literal
That could,
definition of a trigger.
yeah. So it's like, yeah, I could apologize in this situation. And there could be from your end an apology from your end, like, okay, I may have overjumped, but this is why. And this
Mhm.
is why I would like to have a conversation. And for her, she's just like, you know, who knows? She could just genuinely be like, I really just genuinely like don't want to exclude you. It's just something that just happens. And if it comes off as exclusionary, like, man, like every time I'm talking to this person, we're having an argument. Why is it always an argument? Why is it always a difficult time? And on her end, I hope that she sits back and reflects on her personal actions. But I mean, if you guys are open to having the conversation, have it. But if not, I would say you're entitled to do exactly what you want to do, honestly. You don't have to wait for somebody to pass away. You don't have to wait for anybody to just leave. You could decide, like, okay, I feel very misunderstood here. And, I'll see myself out, you know? Now, that's your prerogative. You're entitled to do that. Now, some people may not like the way you've gone about it, but it's just like if you just so desire to be understood wholly in that way, and like after you put your own effort in trying to make ends meet and that's not being met, you have the right to do whatever you want to do after that. Sorry. It's like if I decide to like just like a friendship, like if I'm having the conversation with you, we're not meeting eye to eye, and it's just like, okay, I've done everything I could do. I'm good. I gotta go. You know.
And honestly, that's what makes me feel the best is but it's also, like, hurtful because it's like, how many times am I gonna be like, "Let me try this, try this, try this, try this, try this,"
I feel
when
like
it's
it's
like
only okay if both parties are willing to try different things to make it work. But if only one person, like you said, if it's uneven, you feel like you're putting in all this effort to try to make sure that you're understood and you understand them and they're not trying to do the same for you, then that's where it's just like,
and
okay, it's unbalanced.
And that's where I feel like I don't feel bad about anything that I do moving forward. Like as it relates to my stepmom, when I have tried to have a conversation and it wasn't received, well, okay, cool.
Mhm.
Then that's what it is. And when I don't acknowledge you and you don't get Christmas presents and we don't talk, then you know why. Like you are fully and I don't have to hide from it, Like I don't have to be like, I can't come, like just so I can like avoid no, it's like I'm gonna be there and I'm not gonna talk to you. Because I tried to talk to you and you didn't want to talk to me. Remember when that happened? All right, so then like we're good. Unless you're ready to have the conversation that I want to have, we're not having a conversation. So that's what that is, and that's what makes me feel good and like righteous and like I can navigate. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna talk about what these boundaries look like as I'm like navigating like this relationship dynamic, as well as like what potentially is closure with or without
Mhm.
conversation. So okay, so even honestly, as I was having this real life experience and then trying to like make an outline for this episode, I truly was like, what are my boundaries? Like, like what are they? And like, I think without, I don't know. I just was having a hard time. It's like sometimes I know, like, oh, I don't like that, or I do, but I need it almost to be presented to me, right? Like, oh, do you like this? Do you like that? Do you like this? Do you like that? And I was like, I feel like that would be an easy way for me to be like, yeah, these are my boundaries. But sitting down and thinking about it was kind of hard for me. And so I went to our dear friend ChatGPT, and I was wondering, like, how do you identify your boundaries? And they just chat asked me some reflective questions to consider. So if you're like, huh, what are my boundaries or how do I identify them? Here are some reflective questions you should consider. What behaviors make you feel emotionally drained or resentful or taken for granted? Once you reflect on those are often signs that a boundary is needed or being crossed. Who in your life do you feel you have to perform around? And what would it mean to show up authentically instead? Are there conversations or topics that you consistently avoid? And what boundary might you be honoring by doing so? Um, when have you said yes and immediately regretted it? What would have made it easier to say no? And then, do you have rituals or personal time that feel sacred? And how do you protect that time from intrusion? So, thoughts, Jacqueline, like on those reflective questions or just like your boundaries? What do you have
I
boundaries? What are they?
I think for me, I have to practice, like, creating them. I think for me, it's just, like, it's understanding who I am as a person and what makes me tick. Like, I feel like I'm going on this I feel like some people learn themselves a lot faster than others. I feel like I've been in environments where, I didn't get a chance to really truly practice it because I felt like the alternatives were better. Like if I had a thought or wanted to do something else and somebody came in and just had I'm a soft spoken person. So when someone else comes in and they just seem so loud and seem so authoritative when they speak, I always felt like, oh, well, maybe that's just the way I should go, and I still kind of struggle with that. But I think, me learning how to, find and establish my boundaries really comes back to that self acceptance and that self like understanding. I know for me, understanding that I'm a lot more emotional than I put on.
Mm,
Understanding that I'm a lot less like, as far as time goes, like I don't have a great awareness of time, or I actually overestimate the amount of energy that I can exert in a certain time frame. You know? Like, for
mhm,
instance, like, I know these days, my toxic trait was, "Oh, I could get ready in 15 minutes." But no, I needed like 30 minutes to an hour, depending on where we go. And I'm like, I've had to actually like figure that out. So now when somebody say, "Well, when's the latest you can leave the house?" The earliest I could leave a house right now, if I were to leave like this, 30 minutes, you know? It's just like I gotta get up. I gotta put myself in the headspace. I'm leaving the house. And then I gotta, what do I need to do? Do I need to change my outfit? Am I okay with my outfit? Blah, 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 blah. But it's just my boundaries are for myself, but it's also for, I just need I have to maintain the expectations of others. And I have to be more responsible for that. Like, I can't, like, I feel like I don't like to overpromise, and I hate that, and I feel like I do that a lot, and I think for myself, I have to create certain boundaries so I don't overpromise and underdeliver who I am as a person to other people and to myself. So, it's just all about that self, like, you know, what is it, actualization or just realizing who you are. I have some boundaries, but like I said, it's ever changing and ever evolving. So yeah.
when I thought about boundaries, I thought about just like energy management. That was like one of the first things that came to me.
That was a bar, by the way, when you said that.
Oh, yeah, energy management, like, if I don't feel like it, just not being pressured to, like, answer the phone. Like, sometimes my phone will ring and I'll be like, "I'm not answering." Like, no, no, I don't feel like it right now, or like I'm just whatever it is about my own energy is like how I go about setting boundaries, right? Like even the things that I said around like not talking to my stepmom. I was like, don't call me. Like, which is technically not a boundary because I can't control what other people do.
Oop.
But like to me, that was my initial early on attempt at setting a boundary. Um yeah, I think like some people might be like a boundary for me, like on a very low, like superficial level, is like, oh, when I'm on vacation, I don't work. Right? Like that's a boundary.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
cause you can control that. Like, I'm not opening my laptop, I'm not checking my work emails. Like, that's you and that is your boundary. Like when I request these times off, I'm doing that ish. So
Yeah, I mean, the energy conservation, I mean, I had to do that with this job I have. I said, "Hey, I can't record the day after I get off the job because I'm not going to be my energy level is going to be at a 2. I'm not going to be able to give all of myself, and I feel like this podcast deserves it."
yeah.
So, yeah, we're not going to record anymore. I took some pictures. I know we talked about doing this episode a while back ago, and I took some screenshots. I'm like, "Oh, I want to share these little quotes as far as what boundaries are and stuff like that, and just quotes about boundaries as far as understanding what they are to me,
Hmm.
what I like." Um, I got this one. It says, "I think so often what people misunderstand about boundaries is that the point of setting them is not to change other people's behavior or convince them to value different things, is to advocate for yourself, regardless of how they respond." So when I first heard the word boundaries, I really thought they were for other people. I really did. And I was just like, okay, this is how I get other people to respect me and to treat me. And it's just like, no, this is how you start with yourself.
Hmm.
Like, people are going to, and you know what? My fear around boundaries was the fact that, oh, and this is a question, and we could probably move on to a different question, but it's just like, I thought that if I put up certain boundaries, I would have less friends and I'll have less people like me. And I really like value the fact that, hey, I love that so many people feel so like, I love that people like me. I like that I have this great reception from majority of people that I come in contact with. That's a beautiful thing, and I think one of the things that I enjoyed about that, that they always speak about is that, "Oh, Jackie's just so cool. She's so chill. She's so go with the flow," you know? And yeah, that is cool, but it's just like I also let myself down a lot in these processes of being that go with the flow person. So,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you're speaking to a good point in regards to like that boundaries are more for you because it does set you up to make sure that you feel good, right? Like your boundaries are truly, for you. Um I guess I'm just my thing about like boundaries is like sometimes you feel like you have to like explain them because other people, do look at it like, well, why can't just like even in your ketchup, right? Like, well, why can't I do this or why are you doing this? Like, why did you set this, uh, boundary? And you feel like you have to, maybe like explain it or rationalize it, and I don't know if you feel that way.
I I I never have an issue explaining my boundaries with other people because I understand that everybody looks at life looks at life differently. Like, for instance, like somebody else could come on and record after being at work and worked several hours, like literally over 12 hours and be okay with it. But I have to explain to myself like, hey, I'm I'm not gonna be any good. I don't want to also give a whole bunch emotionally right away because I know once I do, I become very attached to you as a person. And if I feel like I'm attached to myself, to you, I'm loyal to you and your cause. And unfortunately, that sometimes come with me like caping for behaviors that, aren't so great because it's just attached to this person, you know?
Mhm.
Like I even in, like, certain friendships, like, I was like, "Oh, she's so cool, I like her," and then she just started okay, this is this girl in, like, high school, and she was funny, and she was in tennis too. She was before I got, met up with Earlene and all of that. She was cool, she was funny, she was very accepting of me, so I was just like, "I like you, okay, well, we'll be friends." But then she started doing some pretty bad behaviors that I kinda couldn't co-sign, but I went along with because we are friends. And because when I use that word friend, it's like, okay, I'm gonna stand behind you. I'm gonna be like, okay, come on, friend. Like, I'm gonna make sure we're good, but we got to move around without actually taking a step back and saying, like, who is this person? You know?
Mhm.
So I think that's my own personal thing. I understand that you are naturally like like open person right out the gate, like take it or leave it. I'm me. I'm Erica and that's it. For me, it's just like I consider every little piece a gift. And it's like, why do you have like I just don't think of it. I think of it as a privilege for you to know me in that way, you know?
Yeah,
So I
absolutely. That's why I'm like, oh, you're gonna see how great I am because I will snatch it away. And you will be so sad that you lost all these great benefits that were over here. You know, like to me, maybe it's evil, but I'm just like, I want you to know that I'm amazing and like show you that I'm amazing, and then for you to be sad about it and be like thinking about it for the rest of your life, like, wow, I really messed that ish up.
Mhm.
To me, like, I'm just like, yeah, you deserve to feel that way because you ruined it. Um, you know, because otherwise I'm like, what am I invested in? What are you invested in? What am I invested? Do I know you? What is the investment here? Like, and that's what's gonna ask me. You knowing me is going to like, I'm gonna know if you're smart or not. Are you about to fumble this bag? Are you not? And you know who
Mhm.
I am and what I'm offering. Because you if I don't show you and you fumble, it's maybe you didn't know what you had. But if I showed you and you fumbled, oh no, I feel really. That's why I could be like, oh no, it's over for real, like because I showed you and you messed that ish up. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I don't know. Um, See, I be cutting myself off. So I'm like, there was a question that I wanted to ask that was about like boundaries being like a protective measure or like something that like isolates you. And is there like a difference, right? Or how do you know the difference between a boundary that like protects you or like isolates you? um, and I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, well, is this boundary something that's like me just trying to move away from something uncomfortable? Or is this a like a healthy boundary that is going to give me some kind of healing or like resolution, right?
Hmm.
And so to me, I think like sometimes you can notice like those what that about like if it is a healthy boundary, like sometimes it just takes time for you to really understand like how it makes you feel. Because even my boundary with my stepmom about like not calling or like me like even me moving away, right? Like it being like like I'm putting up these things, it's actually just kind of a wall to like protect myself, right? It's not necessarily like a healthy boundary, but really just one that's like I don't know, it's a
I don't think
trauma
yeah,
response.
I don't think isolation is considered a boundary. I think that's like I think it's like a I do think a boundary is a personal rule you set for yourself. What personal rule did you feel like you set with your family that you
I
feel like
didn't. And that's why I'm saying
mhm,
like that wasn't a boundary. It was more like
mhm,
a way to isolate myself, right? And like I thought I was really going to get some sense of relief and I did at first. Like I think it was like, oh, okay, like I feel like okay, like my phone, I won't see her name and like I won't get triggered. But then like other people do things that also are a trigger that remind you of like what is really the triggering thing for you. Um, but like I feel like, you know, it was for me realizing that, like it was just like, sometimes people say like, "Oh, I need space." Right? Like, "Oh, I need space." And you might just think that like that's what it is. But really you're kind of just like afraid of being hurt. And that's why I had to really like face the situation and be like, okay, I'm going to put myself out there and have a real conversation and try and like confront it instead of like removing myself just out of a fear, potentially, or a trauma response. Like, and yeah, I mean, I didn't get the results that I wanted. But I mean, you can't control that. But that kind of leads us into like the closure part of the conversation.
Mm, okay.
No, go ahead. Did you have a
No,
response?
no, go for it. No, go for it. Let's go to it. Cause look, the time.
Yeah. So I know kind of were having a little bit of a conversation between like closure and control. And like, is there a difference between closure and control? Like, or like, or more, maybe the question is like, how do people confuse those? Or like, why is that something that some people can confuse? But I mean, maybe you could go first because you were like, I definitely don't see them as related. But I was like, I could kind of see it as related, unless you want me to go.
You can go.
Yeah.
Cause I actually have to switch some things around.
Yeah,
Go
no
ahead.
worries. Um, I think sometimes I look at it like closure is just like, and even while I'm saying it, like, oh, I'm confronting it and like I'm looking for healing and I'm not hiding, right? So I'm like searching for closure is how I would kind of feel like I'm doing it. But like sometimes what I'm actually looking for is, wanting people to have an understanding maybe of like my perspective, right? Like,
Mhm.
and maybe even feel bad
You
about like
want
what they
people
did.
to feel so many emotions behind you, and
I do.
that's so I mean, that is an interesting thought because getting knowing you as a person, and as long as I've known you, but I'm still getting to know you. As open as you are, like right away, like having that understanding of like she wants you to feel her at the end of the day. So it's either you're gonna feel her in this way or feel her in that way.
Yes.
So or feel her physically. I don't know. Because I'm just like I know for I know for me, I had to realize like closure okay, on a toxic level, when people were younger, they're just like, oh, we need to meet up for closure and have a closure conversation. When in reality, it was just you just want to try to fuck one last time. That's how I know sometimes that's when it comes down to me and these other people, these significant others. And also, it could also be just like you said, hey, this is where I was coming from in this relationship. And I hope that you understand that. I just want you to not to walk away knowing exactly what it was versus guessing.
Mm.
But then I also realized that sometimes it's okay to not have closure. Sometimes the non-conversation is the closure. Like I've had okay, for
So how do you
instance,
find peace without a conversation? Like if you never had a
um
conversation, like how do you find peace? Because I'd be
understanding
mad
that
forever.
the understanding that the lack of conversation is the closure. That's the answer. Because we couldn't speak, that was the answer. Because we didn't want to and there was no desire to, that is my answer. For instance,
Mm.
I have 3 exes S's because I wrote these down. 2 exes that I actually got closure from because these 2 guys violated my boundaries when I was younger. Um there was oh gosh, I don't know nicknames for these people, but
Got one.
they're very basic names. I don't know, fuck it.
Oh,
Like,
not
so
names.
I don't care.
Uh,
Like, so
I'll bleep it. That's fine.
huh?
Said I'll bleep it. That's fine.
Okay. So there's my boyfriend in college when I was a sophomore. And my boundary with him was like, hey, if we're going to be together, I don't need you in other girls' DMs. Like, I don't know what you got going on and what personal issues you have with yourself, but I don't want to be with somebody that's in someone in other girls' DMs because that makes me feel like you don't like me. Like, I'm not enough for you. And so he did it again. So we had to end the relationship. He came back years later, like, "Oh, Jackie, I miss you. That was a bad mistake. I wish I was man enough to just be enough for you to be enough for me." And it was a confidence issue with me. I just felt like I just couldn't be just with you. And I was like, I appreciate that. And I truly appreciate that. But, I am and I'm about to be in my 30s. I don't want to continue to have this back and forth with you because I don't the love and fire that we developed early on unfortunately went away with my trust with for you. And it's okay. But I hope you have the greatest life. I really do. Because I want you to leave this alone because I want to leave this alone.
That's
Goodbye.
closure.
Yeah. This is somebody these are the 2 guys I had closure with and
Ugh,
someone I didn't. I'm
that's
about to give
beautiful.
an example I didn't.
Oh, okay.
And then there was bleep this other person, Hassan. So this guy, mind you, he's not no longer living. But he was a guy that I actually trusted in high school. I actually did some things with in high school that I trusted. I felt like we could, do some things and we were together. So that was my boyfriend at the time. So I felt okay doing these acts with him. But unfortunately, that was not confidential between us. It was spread throughout the whole school. So it's like you weren't vocal and open with the fact that we're together, but you want to tell everybody that, you got, you know, this and that act done to you and you're how such a like what a dude you are, what type of like, hey, I'm that guy, I'm that dude, I'm that nigga. And it's like that's sad because I'm not even that person to really just be doing that to just anybody. And like I did that with you because I trusted you. And I don't want to talk to you anymore. Years later, he DM'd me on Facebook stating that he was very sorry he did that. That was something that he knew that that wasn't right. And, he hopes the best for me. I felt personal closure with that apology. He did later on in life die, but I know that, like, hey, I got that piece of closure. The person I never got a like full on closure from was my plug. And it's okay because I actually reached out to him to like talk to him for a couple things that I was just like, oh, I really want his perspective on this matter. But he didn't answer the phone. So I was kind of sad about that. But I was just
That
like, you know
recently?
what? Huh?
When did you do
Not
that?
recently,
Oh,
like last year.
okay.
Yeah, like 2024. So, like, I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to like, hey, I'm not going through a lot of things in my life. I kind of just want somebody to talk to, and I just want their perspective on this. Um, they didn't pick up the phone, so I left that as the answer. And does it suck? It does, but I had a funeral for them in my head, so
And
I.
that's what I heard is like how you get that closure is like you have to okay. So I feel like I wrote some, I jotted something down and like just if you don't do it, if closure okay. If you don't get to express your truth, like that's hard for me. I struggle there. That's what
Mhm.
I wrote down. Um, I said, okay, so you have to create your own closure. Boo. Examples would be
You
example.
said boo.
Yeah, it is. It's garbage. But examples would be, writing a letter that you don't send, or naming what you didn't get, or having some kind of symbolic ritual, right? Like, people like write those things and like burn them or, host their
That's
little
what I
bonfire.
did. I actually wrote this long goodbye letter to this person and I ripped it up, burnt it. It's over with, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So, I mean, and I appreciate that. Yeah, having someone who can give you closure is like beautiful. I don't think that I've gotten closure in any of my little things that I've kind of really been in. The only thing that I can really recall is this one individual that we were like kicking it with in college, and we were holding hands potentially right around wherever on U of I's campus, like where Follett's was kind of, so, and then that like
Okay.
boba green tea. So right like green and whatever that other main intersection is where the alma mater is right there. Anyway, so I reached for his hand to just like grab it to walk down the street. And he was like, oh yeah, no, we're not.
Mm-mm.
We are not doing that. And I was like,
Oh, we're
ah,
not together.
no.
Sorry. You
Uh,
know what?
wow.
Go see me.
Um,
Okay. You ain't
but
go front on me like that.
like
Okay.
years later, because maybe that was like my sophomore year. I think that was my sophomore year. And like probably 2016 or so, so like 2 years post graduation, like I ended up seeing him. And he was like, "Yo, like, I just want to apologize. Like, just like, I just want to apologize. Like, I didn't treat you well and you deserve to be treated like better than that." And I was just like, I really appreciate that ish. That ish is really nice. And I appreciate that. And even, my father, when he acknowledged, like, when he was going through his things, and was just like, "Hey, like, I just want to apologize for, your childhood and like not giving you like the mother that you would like, and like everything that's happened from like that perspective." And I bawled my eyes out when that ish was said to me, because I really appreciated it, and it also just makes me remember or realize that, or validate that I'm not insane or crazy or the one that messed up or did anything wrong. Like, I appreciate that, and I think that that's kind of also why I'm like, I have control issues in regards to these like narratives. Like, I so I read something that was like, closure is about acceptance and control is really about managing the outcome. I be trying to manage the outcome. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, okay, one more time. One more I'm sorry, I'm writing it down. You're doing a good job.
Okay. Closure is about acceptance. All right.
Mm.
And control is about managing an outcome. So closure says, I may get everything I wanted. I may not get everything I wanted, but I can still move forward. And control says, I need this to end the way I think it should, or I can't let it go.
Yeah, and I think that with that, you're gonna be very dissatisfied with life in a lot of different ways because we don't we're not in control. There's a lot of things we can control as ourselves.
I literally hate it.
There's the serenity prayer
Yes.
that I don't know if you're familiar with, but
Hmm.
it's just
God grant me
they are
the.
just
Go ahead.
oh, I could pull it up because I don't know it off my head. Because I am a millennial Christian and you
It's
know how
like,
that
God
goes.
grant me the something, the knowledge to know the things I some cannot change, and to some know the difference. Whatever. Something in that regard. All right.
All right. So it said, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
I only missed a couple of them words. Okay.
No, it's okay. You got it, girl. It's one of those things where you got that wisdom to know the difference can really determine the fact, how people perceive you as crazy or not. Honestly, truly. It's just like, all right. Or for yourself, when you like, I might be crazy. Let me go. It's like, I might be a little off right here. But that control portion, and like I said, we should definitely have a control issue episode. But like
Yeah.
yeah, that closure part is that true the acceptance that that chapter is over. Like even with my own family issues, yeah, do I wish I could have a whole real full on conversation with my aunt and really like paint the picture like I understand how you feel in the situation, but I need you to see it from my point of view and understand it's not to be a vindictive person towards you.
Mm,
It's to protect the fact that you gave me no choice. You didn't give me a choice in this manner. If I had to choose between just letting somebody continue to lie to me or protect my family, I'm protecting my family.
mm,
And I know you and she's the type of person who'll be like, "Oh, you think I'm trying to cheat you or something?" No, but the way you presented it wasn't in a fair manner. Hence cheating.
mm,
You knew all the information, we didn't know any of this information. And you hid information to control an outcome.
mm.
So now that I found out about it, what am I going to do?
Um. Uh. In the same vein, kind of something else that I just jotted down around like control and closure was that, like, it's important to remember that being denied closure says more about them than it does about you. Healthy
Mhm.
people don't vanish without a word. And if someone disappears when things get hard, that's the closure, even if it doesn't feel satisfying. Sometimes the absence is the answer.
Didn't I say that? I'm like,
I gotta work on that.
hey.
I gotta work on that. Okay. I gotta work on it. I don't know what to tell y'all hoes except for, my word of the year is still surrender. We're still in this year. I'm still working on releasing and surrendering and being present and whatever else. I hate it here.
I think it's working out. I feel like you're well, I think so. I feel like you're just opening yourself up in your own timing, your own way. It's not gonna be full on, hey y'all, I'm open. I do think that we practice vulnerability in different ways. I feel like I said earlier in this episode, I'm very much open to the directions of where my life could take me. Um, yeah, but for you, I know you have a very set way of how, like, hey, at the end of the day, I'm not having this, I'm not having that. So
Black and white, baby, except all
mhm.
black. Okay.
Oh,
And oh, anything else? Because I was gonna wrap it right on up.
you can wrap it up. We've been on this thing for a little minute. I
And
just think that at the end of the day, like I'm still working on my own boundaries. And I always, like I said, I'm afraid of like putting them up like with strong force. But have had instances where like when I've actually practiced it, it's been respected. So I gotta remind myself of those examples and not the ones that were met with a lot of rah, a little backup, a little back and forth, because I have to realize that's from that other person seeing it as like you're trying to stop me from doing what I want to do with you. And it's just like, no, this is for myself. Boo. I'm so sorry. Like
mhm.
I gotta do me. It's for me. So again, if people don't like the fact that I have to there's a certain little wall right here. It's just, hey, it's just for myself because the latter part of it is that I'm gonna beat your ass. So what would you like? What would
Okay.
you like? Sorry.
Well, we hope you like this episode. Okay, like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the little things, and show us that you care about us. You can follow us also on social media. We have a TikTok and Instagram for the podcast. It is just extra underscore podcast. You can follow us all on Instagram because that's the millennials we are. You can follow Jackie at all things Jay is spelled out. You can follow me, Erica underscore stay ready. And you can follow Hassan, which I'm like, you're still a millennial, right? At Mr. Dot Forbes. DOT is spelled out. And we will catch you on the next episode.
Bye. It's actually 80 to 86 or 96, right? I think
It's
that's the case.
it's I think it's 86 to 90.
Mm, 96 is the cutoff.
96 is definitely the cutoff. That's why I'm
You
like, I
just
feel like
basically
it's
called me old and you in HR. That's crazy.
I ain't working.
Ages. Oop.
We're just being extra.